Welcome to the Week 7 Power Ranking Show here on Brave Birds DFS. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to my channel. I know y'all can hear it. I'm still a little bit under the weather, but I'm getting better by the day. All right, so I put out my first power ranking video last week. Yes, I know it was week 6, and y'all had a lot of things to say, and I respect that. I look at the analytics so I can see what I can do better. I read the comments and I respond to most comments, but it's a power ranking, video, so there's going to be more comments, good or bad in general. But I'm trying to do a little better this week, so I'm going to kind of explain things more than I did that first week. So you can see on the screen there are 4 things that I consider when making these power rankings. I look at wins because you are what your record says you are. I look at strength of victory because not all wins are the same. If your wins are against the Panthers and the Cardinals, that's different than if your wins are against the Ravens and the Chiefs. And then we're going to look at strength of schedule. The NFL, they're brilliant. They always make the strength of schedule so that new teams, if everything works out as planned, new teams rise up every year. Other teams slowly ebb and flow. And that just allows it so that all of the markets, in theory, eventually have a team that makes the playoff and maybe even eventually wins a Super Bowl. And I would probably say the most subjective part of my power rankings are the fear factor. My power rankings are forward looking. So even though it's the week 7 power rankings, I'm also considering who are the 10 teams that I would not want to play in the playoffs. Now, once again, fear factor is just one part of the equation, but that's the most subjective part. So that's the most Walter part of the power ranking. The others, I weigh them the way that I think makes the most sense, but fear factor is just purely my opinion. So let's jump into the power rankings. And at number 10, we have the Green Bay Packers. So the Green Bay Packers, as far as wins, they're tied for second. We have a lot of teams who have won 4 games, and they're one of those teams. So they're second place when it comes to wins, but they're also in the top 10 of teams I would not want to play. So I say that because in the winter, there is no way I would want my team to go to Lambeau Field. 2 degrees, maybe snowing, the crazy fans. And also, I'm going to give a lot of credit to Jordan Love. Yes, it's his second year, but definitely he is getting to me better with every week. So I would not want to go to Green Bay in January or February and play those Packers. So I'm putting the Packers at number 10. So at number 9, I have the Buffalo Bills. Once again, they're one of the many teams that has 4 wins, but I'm actually putting them into the top 5 of teams I would not want to play in the playoffs on the road. So once again, they have a very similar situation to Lambeau, Orchard Park. It could be lake effect snow. You could have the same temperature. It could actually be even colder in Buffalo than what we have in Green Bay. And obviously, they have Josh Allen, no disrespect to Jordan Love, but is a better quarterback, and it has more experience in the playoffs. So definitely putting Buffalo at number 9. At number 8, and I know this is going to annoy some people and piss some people off, but I have Detroit at number 8. They have 4 wins, and look, it is what it is. They had an early bye, so and once again, this is forward looking. So I didn't make an adjustment. I didn't make an adjustment to the fact that they've had a bye. So this is going to catch up to everyone. But that is not the main reason they're at number 8. The reason why they're at number 8 is their strength of schedule and strength of victory. So I can pull up the Detroit schedule, and they beat the Rams, and the Rams are not having a good year. They beat the Cardinals, once again, another team not having a good year. They did beat Seattle, who's having an okay year, and they beat the Cowboys. And yeah, I'm not going to get into that. And so their only loss that they've had so far this year is against a really quality team. They almost beat them in the Bucks. So hey, I don't have a lot of negative to say about the Lions, but like all of these teams, if you have a team that has a weak strength of schedule so far, they got some tough matchups that are going to kind of test that or improve that. And if you have a team that has a high or low strength of victory. A lot of that's going to get tested in the next few weeks. So I have the Lions at number 8. So at number 7, I have the Atlanta Falcons. So the Atlanta Falcons, they have a top 10 strength of victory, and they have a top 5 strength of schedule, and they have 4 wins. And I actually gave them a top 10 don't want to play in the playoffs. And I know a lot of you all are laughing about that. I mean, we know Kirk Cousins' record in the playoffs. However, Kirk Cousins, it's been a while since he had an offense like this. And if that defense can improve just a little bit, you would not want to go to Mercedes-Benz Stadium and play the Falcons in the playoffs. I didn't say the Super Bowl. All right, so at number 6, we have the first 5-win team in the Houston Texans. So yes, they have the 5 wins. They get the maximum amount of points for that. But the Texans, when it comes to their strength of schedule and strength of victory, they are lacking. They're going to get a chance to improve on that immediately by playing the Packers this week, and they also have the Lions on their schedule, and the Chiefs and Ravens in the future. But so far, they beat the Colts, good team. Bears, good team. They lost to the Vikings. That would have really helped them as far as their strength of victory. But then what's really hurting them, they beat the Jaguars and they beat the Patriots, who are both 1-win teams. But they did beat the Bills, which has kind of helped them on their strength of victory. And I just got to say, any of these top 10 teams right now, first of all, a lot of these teams are statistically really bunched together because the sample is so small. This isn't like, baseball where you play 162 games. So, by this point in the baseball season, the equivalent point you play 40 or 50 games, where this isn't like basketball where you play 81, 82 games. So because we're so early in the season, and because there have been so few games so far, a lot of these teams are really statistically bunched together in my power ranking, but they're going to play each other head to head, and there are going to be a lot of other things that start to spread these teams out. All right, so number 5, and I know a lot of people might think it's too high, but I have the Pittsburgh Steelers as my number 5 team. They have 4 wins. They have a really good strength of victory. And I honestly would not want to go to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh can be cold at that point of the winter, and that, Pittsburgh defense is nothing to play with. And let's say their quarterback, if it's Justin Fields, we know sometimes Justin Fields, looks like Michael Vick out there. Sometimes he doesn't. And then if it's not Justin Fields, let's say they move on from that experiment, you have Russell Wilson, and Russell Wilson has won a Super Bowl. So he's one of the few active quarterbacks in the NFL that has won a Super Bowl. So he has proven that he can win a Super Bowl, and he really should have a second Super Bowl if some certain things didn't happen at the goal line. All right, so number 4, and I know people are saying, man, you have this team too high, but number 4, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have had the toughest strength of schedule and toughest strength of victory, and they have 4 wins. So, I mean, when you look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they beat the Commanders, who we all think are a really good team. They beat the Lions, who everybody who's looking at this countdown are like, why are they not higher? Yeah, they lost to the Broncos, but that loss is not looking as bad because the Broncos will play a little better. They beat the Eagles. Yes, they lost to the Falcons, but once again, that is not a bad loss to the Falcons. And they mollywopped the Saints. So yeah, I'm putting Tampa Bay Buccaneers a little higher than a lot of teams. At number 3, I have those Baltimore Ravens. They have a top 5 strength of schedule. They have a top 5 strength of victory. They have 4 wins. And say what you want about Lamar Jackson, but I would not want to go to Baltimore. Once again, these cold outdoor, stadiums in the wintertime. I know Lamar Jackson has not gotten it done in the playoffs, but I don't want to be the team that tests him when he finally gets over that hump. So I'm putting Baltimore at number 3. Number 2, I have the Vikings. So once again, they have the 5 wins. They have the second best strength of victory. Their top 10 strength of schedule. I mean, if I had to pick, really one of the main differences between the Vikings and the Chiefs at this point is, if you ask 100, NFL fans, would they rather go to Minnesota to play the Vikings, or would they rather go to Arrowhead Stadium and to play Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs? And I mean, if we're being honest, most of those fans would pick Minnesota. So if Sam Darnold keeps playing like he's playing, I think they're eventually going to be the number one team. They have to play the Lions. So that's going to be a tough matchup. They're playing them this week. Who else they have? They have the Bears, who are a good team on their schedule. They got to play the Falcons. So I say got to play the Bears twice, and the Lions and Packers and Seahawks. So outside of a few games with the Cardinals, Titans, and Jags, their schedule is pretty tough. So once again, a lot of these teams will move up and down based on that schedule. And no surprise, the number one team are the Kansas City Chiefs. They have the 5 wins, they have a decent strength of victory, and they are the team that I would never, ever, ever want to play in the playoffs. So let me know your thoughts. You can leave comments. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I look forward to talking to you next time. If you like DFS, check out my DFS videos.